but the format was perfect for the game. The full-color 3D vector images provided silky smooth and fluid gameplay. The player used the flight yoke-like controller with fire buttons and took on the role of Luke Skywalker piloting an X-Wing fighter. The game provided three experiences. It started in outer space above the Death Star, where players engaged in a dogfight with enemy TIE fighters and Darth Vader. Then it went down to the surface of the Death Star, where a barrage of laser turrets and towers tried to eliminate the player. Finally, the player was put in the famous trench scene from the Star Wars movie. He needed to survive the journey down the trench by shooting TIE fighters and avoiding obstacles to get a shot in the exhaust vent and blow up the Death Star. No other game put players in so much control and let them celebrate such an iconic moment from the movie. The game included authentic sounds and music from the movie and was Atari's first game to include digitized speech. Such classics as Obi-Wan Kenobi's Use the Force Luke and Luke Skywalker's I Can't Shake Him were taken straight from the movie. Numerous translations were made to home game systems and then replicated the smooth feel of the vector graphics found in the arcade game. Two sequels were released, Return of the Jedi, which was a raster-based game, and The Empire Strikes Back, which went back to the vector format. Tapper. Tapper was developed by Marvin Glass and Associates, a toy design firm based in Chicago which dabbled in video games in the early 1980s. It was released by Midway. The game featured a unique cabinet and fresh gameplay. The player controlled a bartender who needed to serve patrons before they became irate and made their way down the bar to the kegs. To do this, the player used a joystick to position the bartender at one of four bars and then pulled down on the mock beer tap controller to fill a mug of beer to the top. Once filled, the tapper was released and the mug slid down the bar to a waiting patron. If a patron was not there to catch it, or if a customer made it to the end of the bar without being served, the player lost one of 3 lives. It also was possible to move down the bar to pick up tips left by patrons. This move launched a dance show during which all the patrons would pause and watch, thereby giving the player a few moments to catch up serving. There were 4 different bars to visit, and after each one was completed, the player was treated to a bonus round during which the bartender shook all the beer cans in a row except one and shuffled them around. If the player chose the unshaken can, he won a bonus. Tapper's gameplay was unique, and so was the cabinet. Originally made only for bars, the game actually looks like a mini bar complete with a brass foot rail on the bottom and 2 drink holders on the sides. The game initially was branded with Budweiser in the game graphics and on the cabinet, but in order to expand the market, it was rebranded with new graphics as Root Beer Tapper, so it could be placed in all ages locations. This was one of the first games to feature a branded alcohol product in the actual game. Although no sequel was made for the arcade, Tapper was translated to many home systems and recently to the iPhone in a new form as Tapper World Tour. Track and Field. Track and Field was developed and sold by Japan-based Konami Corporation. Konami had some big successes in the market, including Frogger, Time Pilot, and Gyruss, and had, in fact, released more than 25 arcade games. Even still, only about 1 in 5 games hit big, and Track and Field was one of them. It was released right before the 1984 Olympics helped spark its popularity. Not since Atari's football in 1978 had there been a sport game that really created such fierce competition among players. Track and Field created an intense rivalry with just 3 buttons and a lot of sweat. Players competed in 6 different Olympic sports: 100-meter dash, long jump, javelin throw, 110-meter hurdles, hammer throw, and high jump. All the events required an incredible combination of fast button mashing and timing. Most required the player to run by alternating the right and left buttons. The faster the players tapped, the faster they ran. The game was a brutal test of endurance, as players frequently found themselves out of breath after only a short time of intense play. Players came up with some novel approaches to try to beat both their friends in the game. Some would balance a pencil between their middle finger and tap one end really fast to alternately hit both run buttons. Some might have a friend tap the left run button as they tapped the right one, or use the thumb and pinky method to alternately hit the run button and use their other hand to hit jump. The game also could be played with up to 4 people in teams of 2, which created an even more competitive environment. The 1983 marked the advent of a number of popular games. The popularity of the industry itself was waning. By the end of the year, it was looking like the arcade game phenomenon was nothing more than a fad. Launched in 1980, Pac-Man went on to sell more than 350,000 units. Today, it still enjoys a 94% recognition rate among American consumers.